Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So let's talk a little bit about self-love. I've always given better advice to others than what I've been willing to take for myself. I've never really been able to treat myself very well. I can treat others a lot better than I treat myself. I would be able to tell people that they were good enough in various ways, but then I wouldn't be able to feel good enough for myself. I've always beat myself up. I never felt adequate. Even when I was a little kid, I always felt stupid. I had learning disabilities, dyslexia. I was immediately put in special schools, so I felt different than all my friends, and I really beat myself up about it. For most of my life, I felt stupid. I felt like I had a terrible body. Up until recently, when I've taken weight training more seriously and my diet more seriously. For more than 40 years, I was horribly embarrassed by my body. Just thought I had an awful, terrible body that nobody would like. I didn't like it. I never felt adequate with life in general. There wasn't any aspect of it that I felt like I was good enough. I had never really had a good job before, not until I became self-employed. I had no real confidence in any area of my life, and I could pump other people up. Anybody around me, I could be like, give them good advice and motivate them and, affirm them, validate them. But I was never able to do that for myself. I finally learned the importance of self-love and self-acceptance. Part of my strength, my inner strength that I've gained is because I have learned to forgive myself and I've learned to forgive others. When you go through a process of forgiving yourself, it helps you gain a certain amount of acceptance in certain areas. We all have flaws. We are who we are. And as long as you're working on yourself, working on the areas that make you weaker, working on the areas that are not so pretty, that may be holding you back or negative even, as long as you're doing something towards that, you can feel like a good person even with a mountain of problems, all kinds of things against you. There's always somebody who has it worse. I'm lucky I didn't grow up with deformities. I'm lucky I didn't grow up with, in a wheelchair, or, I have a buddy of mine who, he has no legs. I'm lucky that I didn't have to suffer through that kind of stuff. But no matter what you're dealt in this life, you are, you're special in your own way. You're an individual. You're unique. And you should never be ashamed of how you are. So what if you're not like others? And this was what I could never really get. I could tell that to other people, but I could never really get it myself. And I had to learn this, a process, through forgiving yourself, through positive affirmation, through taking control of your self-talk, and through working on areas that you feel weak in to better yourself, or at least to try. I've always felt like, when I die, I may not get where I want to get to. I may not be the person I want to be. I may not go to heaven. But I would have tried. I would have tried my best. Whether I cross the finish line or not, whether I win the game or not, it's not as important. And it took me a while to accept the fact that I looked okay, that I had aspects of my personality. I can be high-strung, I can be aggressive, I'd always been embarrassed by those qualities. I realized as long as I work towards growing as a person in ways that I feel like that I need to, if I have a natural quirkiness to me, that's just what God gave me. It's just part of who I am. And to be proud of those things, to be proud of my uniqueness. We can be our own worst critics. I was for many, many, many years. If someone were to ask me to write a list of problems and flaws and faults, negative things about yourself, I could write for pages. If someone were to ask me, now write a list of the positive things about you, I could sit there for an hour trying to think of one thing. When I write it, I'd probably erase it. We can really be our own worst enemies. You wouldn't let your enemy come in your home. Your home is your sanctuary. You wouldn't let your enemies come in your house. I mean, I sure wouldn't. But you might have an enemy living in your house already. It may be you. You may be your own worst enemy in life. Are you holding yourself back? Are your insecurities in life, this negativity that you show towards yourself, is that holding you back in life? It certainly has me. It stopped me from trying new things, stopped me from being social, stopped me from doing necessary things that other people would easily do for themselves, just by being my own worst enemy in life, being down on myself. I would treat myself worse than I would suggest other people treat themselves. I mean, I've learned to change, but I used to really just put my body through the ringer, wouldn't eat right. I would drink way too much, a case of beer every single day, followed by a gallon jug of wine. I didn't care. Would I suggest that for somebody else? Hell no. Was I stupid? No. I realized that that's bad for you. I didn't give a fuck. Because I was always in this fuck the world mode anyways. When you're down on yourself, you're down on the world. Because the world feels like it's against you. You feel cursed. For years I felt cursed. I realized that I was the witch cursing myself. I was the one doing it to myself. I was my own worst enemy. I was the evil villain in the plot. And I was the hero that didn't even know that they were the hero. Sabotaging myself with negativity, with a negative mindset. So don't be your own worst enemy. Love yourself. You have to fall in love with yourself. It doesn't mean that you have ego, that you go around thinking that you're better than anybody. But you want to focus on the good aspects of yourself and not so much on the negative stuff. As long as you're working towards a goal as far as growing as a person and being the best person that you can be, the negative stuff is rather inconsequential. Don't sit there and dwell on it. I used to dwell on that shit all the time. It was just like a broken record. I'm not good enough. I'm not this. I'm not that. I bring myself down every day to where just doing basic things felt like a huge struggle. Look for the good things. If you don't win the game, at least you tried, at least you played. We've all heard that. It's so important, though. It's an important lesson. So focus on the positive aspects of self. Have a positive image of yourself. Be able to say that I'm a great person even though I have flaws. I'm a great person. I'm just as good as anybody else out there. I'm just as worthy of love. I have lots of love in me. I'm just as worthy of success. My body may not be perfect like some other people's, but I do my part. I'm doing my best. Just like I said, when I die, I may not be the perfect, ideal human. But at least I tried to be the best me that I could be. And what's important is when you go through a process of personal growth and when you're just trying, you gain self-respect. Because you know that others can't talk shit to you in certain ways anymore. You know that you have a certain amount of confidence. I may not be the best at this, but God damn it, I'm trying. I may not be the fastest reader. I may be stupid compared to a lot of people, but I'm trying. I read books. I'm doing the best I can. And I'm happy with that, and I'm proud of that. I got a couple small bookshelves in my office, and I've read every goddamn book on it. I'm proud of that. So be proud of aspects of yourself, regardless of where you're at. It's good to have goals. But every once in a while, you want to do an inventory and think about the positive things. Put yourself into a habit of looking for the positive things in your life, for the positive aspects of self. This will give you more of a chance of looking at the world in a positive way. But in the overall story of life, instead of being a villain, like I always felt like, you can be more of the hero. Because everybody out there has a duty to love themselves. You're no good to others if you can't love yourself. It's not enough to just shower others with compliments. You have to learn to shower yourself with compliments. Tell yourself that you love yourself. It feels awkward, but it shouldn't. It's all just food for thought. Thanks for watching.